Shut Up and Give Me Your Money is a fine art book, a high-end art book designed by myself. It's a collaborative piece between me and the homeless people, and this is my prototype, so be a little bit careful with her. She's the PVA binding is not as strong as I hoped. Now, the reason I say that is because every rich man basically doesn't care about homelessness. They don't want to see it, and they're not going to see it unless it's rammed at them in a way which they will sort of be brainwashed into buying, but know full well what they're buying and what they're putting their money in for, because that's why they would have bought it in this sort of form. So during this project we did a lot of tasks related to typography. These are two typographies I created myself in a program called FontStruct, and I actually used, first of all I used both of them in the book. I then realised that the consistency between page to page just didn't work. More than three typographies in there was a no-go for me. So I got rid of the top one and kept the bottom one because it was like bricks. Homeless people, houses, bricks. There was a slight relation there. And yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed creating typographies and stuff. It was good. So yeah, my target audience are the wealthier people. This is because I've worked out that by working closely with the homeless and explaining who this is being sold to, I feel like I've given them the chance for them to make a small difference. Not just because they are homeless and by doing what I say keeps them happy, not at all, but by reaching out to the homeless community and giving them a voice in an art form. This is one of the pieces, and yeah, I'm going to go back to that last point, the target audience. It was hard because I came up with about 7 different ideas. I had so many ideas on what I wanted to do, what I wanted to carry out, and a lot of them wouldn't have worked. It was quite frankly just my imagination thinking that they would work, but they definitely wouldn't. So once I'd had a look at such magazines as, Computer Arts magazine was very, very enlightening, and the One magazine, which is a rollerblading magazine, they keep consistency throughout almost every single magazine on the market, unless it's a Hello magazine, where it's everywhere. But yeah, so I realised that I needed to keep consistency with little what are they called? Borders? Is it? Yeah, but with little borders and little numbers and just the all-round sort of authenticness to a book. And it's not a magazine, it's a book, so you've got to remember it's different. It's not going to be as cliche as a high street sort of W.H. Smith's book. Yeah, that's my typography, and everything on that page I created, and that is one of the designs. It's my favourite design actually in the book, because I feel it does represent homelessness the best, with the person and with the dark clouds. But yeah, I think it works. I hope it works. Oh, that's not a good sign. That's because I didn't actually make a Viva. I just blagged this whole thing pretty much because time was at the essence for me, because I'd spent so much time designing these designs and got a little bit too into it. I sort of got to about a week ago and sort of thought, wow, Matt, I haven't designed anything to do with sort of layout and typography and considered any of these aspects for my designs. So I had to sort of leave my designs completely, like I got rid of them on my hard drive, so I wouldn't even touch them, and came in and just solidly worked at looking at different magazines and what they do, and books, high-end art books, what they do to create the effect I wanted, the sleek, classic, elegant effect, but yet doing it with homelessness. It was kind of weird. So, and I realised space is key. Space for your images and space for the brain to think, to move on, and give time and space enough room in your head to engage it. So, yeah, I mean, what else shall I talk about?
If you could tell us like what you think were particular strengths within it.
The
what
fact
you think
that
stood
I
out.
used and created my own typography. It would have been easy for me to create it and leave it and put it to bed and never use it again. And that's what I wanted to do. I really did want to do that, but I don't know, I made myself go back and make another font struct piece, and I made myself put it into my designs, and I actually ended up changing all my designs to suit the typography more. So yeah, that's one thing.
How central is the type to the object, the body of work, it as a book rather than a book of illustrations?
I definitely think it's not just words, it's design. From where they're sort of big and they're blocky, they're hard to sort of, when you first look at them, you don't see it as the word which you want it to see, which is sort of like homelessness. You see it, but you don't really want to see it. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen at all. But yeah, that's another point. What did I do? That's the protocopy there, and I went to, who did I go to? The design team or something, and had a quote for 10 books hardback with the ink which brings down the shine. I can't remember the exact name, but and they came back to me with a price of like bordering £400. So I thought, oh god, I've got to pull my finger out and go and make one which would be decent, and I made that yesterday. So once again, time. I need to work on my time management skills a lot. But any questions at all?
This was a collaborative project, wasn't it?
Yes.
Is there still this collaboration between?
Yeah, sorry, I completely missed that out. Like, I went to Brighton and I went and basically just jumped in the deep end with pens and papers and everything you can imagine. I just went camera and sat down with homeless guys, and some of them were really unapproachable, you know, and some of them were really, really nice, and sort of once they knew what it was for, once I had time to explain, they bought into it in their own little way, you know, like by collaborating. And yeah, and also like their marks, like some of the ink marks I used and I've manipulated, so that's the collaborative piece.
Excellent. And you didn't need to. It was visually. You were asked them to collaborate visually, weren't you? You were not about the stories, poems, not about experiences.
No, definitely not. I thought that stuff's all a bit too. We've heard it before, you know. Everyone's heard the sorry story of a homeless person, and I feel they're not sorry stories. You know, they should be shown in a different light, I suppose.
Was there any objection to bringing in more photography to it, taking their photos and bringing their pictures in? Did they not?
I didn't feel comfortable to whip out a camera after I'd sort of got their their blessing to sort of sit down, and I felt like I had in their comfort zone. If I whipped out a camera, they would have been, do you know what I mean? I thought, yeah, and for my own safety with them, I thought, no, I'll leave that, so.
Where did you go?
I went to Brighton. I started off near the train station and walked down the lanes and pretty much just spoke to any person sat down on the street corner.
Right, so you didn't go to a centre where you might be more of a safer
No,
environment to approach
not at
people
all,
to get
not
photos?
at all. My reason behind that was because I thought if I walked into a centre holding arts, books and pens and paper, I thought I might come across a little bit pretentious maybe, like to them. So I thought it would make sense to go out to the street and speak to them, because you get a much more honest response, even if it is
Yeah.
go away. I'd still acknowledge that and I can write about that.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
yeah, no, it went well, I think, all in all.
Excellent. And this is a high-end art book, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
are you going to stick with the hardback? Because you've got a black cover on the front with nothing on it at the moment, isn't it? So, I know it's a prototype, but is it they're going to change slightly?
Yeah.
Say to that kind of look?
I think plain works. I thought about putting the shut up, give me your money in white on the front, but I thought for looks it wouldn't look like a high-end book if it just had that typography on it. It would look like a graphic comic sort of. So I thought I won't. And then when I experimented with a different typeface, it didn't look right, because then consistency throughout. So I just thought yesterday I'll leave it black and sort of see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, you have to open it to discovery.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I think another reason for that is the place where I want it to end up on a rich person's coffee table, for instance. I don't think they're going to want to see "Shut up, give me your money" branded right there, smack bang. They want it a little bit more subtle. So by leaving nothing on the cover, it's effectively helped them buy into it.
Excellent. And where are you going to sell it from? So?
I was going to do it just myself as an artist, sort of self-promotion and promotion for Stone Pillow as well.
Good.
Matt, you've got some phrases, quotations on the observations. Where those words come from yourself or from?
They come from myself and the experiences I shared when I was with the homeless guys. The sort of not what they directly said to me, but sort of their views more or less.
And how do you think that relationship between those quotes and your images, what you're trying to get out of that relationship?
Definitely, yeah. I was trying, what I would have liked to ideally do is maybe get a photo of the person who sort of made me feel that quote and use that person behind it. But as I say, when I was with them, I didn't feel comfortable getting my camera out to photograph them, so I just sort of just rolled with it and just designed and had fun on Photoshop and sort of just manipulated them to fit.
And just one other thing I'm going to slightly pull up on was your sweeping statement you made first of all when you opened this presentation, that rich people don't know. Well, you said something about rich people don't want to deal with homeless people, and rich people don't want to attract. Have you got any evidence to prove that? And have you got? Have you asked?
Yeah, well,
and Centrepoint who their biggest contributions are.
Well, it's not hard. All you got to do is look at the government for that answer, because they are potentially the guys with the money, with the power, and with the object to cure it, and they're not. So yeah, and also I'd say I was from quite a wealthy background, and my parents don't care whatsoever about homelessness, and I think that was a big eye-opener as well, to actually see it in my own family, and it was a bit sort of like, whoa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other missed opportunities that you feel?
Yeah, definitely the printing. The printing process would have been amazing to go and like get involved in it, see how they do it. You know, like I shared a couple of emails with a nice woman called Alison, and she seemed cool about the process. It's just a shame I didn't really have the money to go ahead with that.
Anything else about the whole design process? Thinking about editorial layout?
Yeah,
and
columns
audience.
and stuff like that. I wish I could have written, a story about each design and what person who I met on the street represented to me in that story and the visual. I would have loved to have done that, but once again, time really was my downfall, and I got too wrapped up in having fun in Photoshop and designing that I sort of forgot the typography element, and I had to really, I struggled to gain that back, I think, definitely, once I lost it.
Okay. You guys have any more questions?
Fine.
Thanks ever so much, Matt.
Alright,